grab the popcorn, this kernel is hot. Our guests on the Kernel with Obsidian are Bennie and Karl, and episode 2 is When Tech Becomes Magic. Welcome, Karl. Welcome, Bennie.
Thank you.
We're talking about open source, and I'd love to know what your first technology that you absolutely loved and got you excited about being in the industry.
Okay. Yeah, from my side, my first technology that I actually saw and worked on was embedded systems, PC board layouts, and the related software to that. So that was quite interesting. Got me hooked into it. And from there, it basically developed into Linux. And this was around about 1992, so it was quite far back. And yeah, I've seen pretty much everything in the industry on Linux develop. So yeah.
That's quite a long time. So what are you currently doing in your role?
Currently, instead of, while supporting a customer, also using AI a lot to generate code, work on lots and lots of administrative tasks. But yeah, using AI like most people will use Google.
Fantastic. Sure. Karl, you've also been an open source fan for many, many years. Mm-hmm. What was your first tech that got you excited?
I think my dad brought home a computer from work, and I opened it up and I dislodged a graphics card at that stage. It was in the 80s, and he was like a CAD person, and I broke it. So I had to fix it. So before he got home, so I did. And I think that whole thing of the fact that you can build things and assemble things and put things right, I think that got me going. That really helped me. Yes.
It's been a long journey from those days when things were very physical. A lot of what you experience now is kind of in this virtual world of the internet and things. So what do you think has been the biggest change in the narrative of open source since the 80s?
I have to think now. Biggest change probably, it sort of reflects what I've seen in the industry happening as well. What happened is initially everything was about infrastructure because the applications that a particular vendor will run was not so much of an issue. Like nowadays, you have all sorts of applications that need specialized configuration, specialized setup to actually function, and that can dictate a lot more of the infrastructure. Previously, applications were simple, software were very simple, networks were very simple, and that's about the biggest change that I've seen happening across the last now 35 years. So yeah.
So Karl, the complexity of all these different layers, as in your current role as CIO at Obsidian, what are the biggest challenges that you're facing with these massive changes?
I think it's about ownership and who owns what in the organization, which layer is owned or allocated to which person or team or business unit, and what is the responsibilities of what on means or secure means or its working means. And I think that adds a lot of complexity to organizations. So I think it's multi-layered. And it's not just in your building anymore or on location. It's in the cloud, it's on-prem, it's hybrid, it's in your pocket. Company's information is really everywhere. And now also where you have to give your information to different services, and are they like good custodians of your information? And so that is it's getting a bit more complicated than it was in the older days.
And I know that people are your passion. It's not just about the tech.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're both people persons. And how do you address the complexity of the tech and relate that back to the people? We used to be quite silo-centric. You had the network engineer. You had up until a few years ago, you had a cloud engineer. How do you think it's impacting organizations now in terms of the people and the complexity of the technology and how it's influencing how we work?
I think the cool thing is that you can't hire a person today and say, if you hired a engineer in August 2023 and you said to him like, yes, you are in charge of coming up with new ways of generating code to manage the infrastructure. And then in October 2023, when ChatGPT launched, that entire thing changed. So I think the adaptability of people today is that you must understand that your role is going to evolve the whole time and technology doesn't stay stagnant. And so people need to be committed to that change. And people don't necessarily like change, but we like to hire people, come work at Obsidian, to be learners. And you want people to go and experiment and to play and to be flexible in that. So you can't expect to be in one role for 15 years and it's never going to change or never improve. In the technology space, it's constantly evolving. And I think if you're committed to that change, then it's going to be better for you in your career, I think.
I think, Bennie, you've been here a very long time, since the 90s. And now you're playing with something in AI that we almost didn't even think was possible. We read those books that came out in the 60s, and we know that they predicted all of this stuff. But we didn't think we'd kind of see that now in this lifetime, right?
Yeah, no, it's the changes that has come into AI probably in the last month or two, especially stuff like agentic programming. Things are just, you play catch up all the time. The tempo of the acceleration is beyond what I can muster. It's very similar to what happened in the 90s, early 2000s with Google starting up and starting to expand the way they did searches and everything. And AI at the moment is at that rapid growth. The only thing that's holding it back right now, I think, is the physical limitations when it comes to like GPUs and the amount of power that power stations can generate at this point.
What about money?
Yeah.
That's holding a lot of people back.
That's the big thing, because I think it's the other day I saw on a cabinet that contains like GPUs with servers. The power consumptions are in like megawatts, not kilowatt or...
That's crazy.
It's like the power consumption is crazy. I mean, I remember a while back on other company I worked, different customer, that they occupied like an entire city block in town, here in Joburg, and whenever they had to turn on either servers or add storage to the network, we had to talk to the electrician, and he complained constantly because there was no more power available for the feed coming into the block for the entire company. We were already exceeding, I think at that point, 10-20% of the power usage the cables is supposed to produce or carry. And it was crazy. It just, I mean, for that company, growth as well, you cannot do a data center on any floor. You need to have the infrastructure beneath it to support it. And that did not always happen. People will put computers on floors that you can't believe how much concrete can bend until you see a geyser bursting and water running from the side of the wall up to the center point and dropping down. And when they look, they see the water is doing this, but the floor is like bending and bowing probably at about 15 centimeters from the side to the center. So stuff like that,
nuts. It's nuts. We didn't envision any of
no,
that.
none.
No.
So, Karl, give us a real kind of world example or something that's controversial that we're currently doing in AI being fueled by this new demand.
AI, I think Arthur C. Clarke said it best. When technology becomes indistinguishable from magic, it's where the cool things are happening, right? And I think we're at this point where we are building things at such a rate with AI that people feel threatened with their positions, and we don't necessarily want people to feel threatened. You know, AI is an enabler. It doesn't take jobs. I think I'm very positive, especially in South Africa. We shouldn't worry about emergent technology like that taking away our jobs. I think I'm always reminded about how wireless changed networks in Africa. Is that we leapfrogged network cables and we went straight onto Wi-Fi, and now we're probably one of the most connected continents in the world, right? And I think that is exactly what AI can do for South Africa, is that it can help us leapfrog industries that we were traditionally been lagging behind, and we should see it as that. So,
as an example, I mean, the other day, I can code, and I can code in quite a few languages. Now, the situation for me is, should I write a new application, it can take me weeks. With AI the other day, I actually implemented a Jira plugin, debugged it, everything in the span of 3 hours. So for me that can code, if I start using AI to assist in the coding or do the bulk of the coding, and I play like a QA position more or less, the speed at what I can code is probably 10 to up to 100 times faster than what I would normally produce without that. So would it take my job? No. It will make me very, very, very efficient. I can now, literally me with AI can actually now do a lot more than previously. So, the other day I saw on the net, on YouTube, it was a video. The guy that started coding was in his 90s, didn't know coding at all. So you can literally expand using it, your capabilities, rather than having it threaten you. So that's my take on it.
I think if you wanted like a hot take or a controversial thing, is that I think that AI will damage the way that we collaborate with our co-workers. So teams producing code will probably dwindle down. And I think that there would be, instead of more people working together on shipping features, it will be more individuals shipping specific features, but it will also give people the ability to work a bit more in parallel, because they would have somebody to help them check or do something QA and help them to just define their work a bit better. So it might actually affect collaboration on a human level, but it can also help when you have to bring things together. That's actually where the cool things will start to happen, is that you can bring what you've worked on to the table, and then we can start working on integrating everything. I think that could potentially be cool.
Yeah, definitely. If it's still a team, the team can now build software 5 to 10 times bigger than what they previously would have been able to.
So the pros for the industry is absolutely the speed of which we can start building.
Yes.
My biggest concern from the outside, I'm going, how much innovation is going to happen if there's no human collaboration when that AI is working with what it's got? Where's the new thinking coming from?
So when it comes to the software development, if you're a software developer, you know about this. There's already quite a lot of tooling that before AI came along that people used to save time. Like, for instance, the one product I used, SQLC. You write your SQL code, and from it you generate source code. Right. So a lot of that tooling was already there and already used, but it was like isolated. You need to know your tooling. AI has brought all of that together now with the what they call the agentic coding, where the actual agent can make use of all these tools and even automate at a much higher level. So it's not that alien to software development to use AI. What is, I think, the most scary thing for most developers is to what extent do they want to like delegate the coding or initial coding process to AI tools, and if they realize up to like agentic coding where you let it do everything, a lot of people might feel just a bit of loss of control there. But again, you can speed it up quite a lot the more you hand off. Yeah.
I think just to hook into that is that I think that as soon as you reduce the cognitive load for people when they start producing and creating code, and you reduce the pressure of delivery because people have tighter deadlines.
Right.
And as soon as people are under pressure, the tendency to innovate doesn't there because you're working on a deadline, so you can't creatively try and problem solve. Sometimes people that are bad with time management can. I don't know anybody like that.
Point any fingers.
But what happens is that you are more free to think. And I think that is actually where the creativity comes in, because you're cognitively freed up to say like this donkey work or this like documentation or whatever insert boring task in here is being taken care of with AI. And then that frees your mind up to more creatively approach a problem. Because obviously now what you can then do is discuss this with your agent or your prompt, and then we can try and expand on a few ideas and see what works. And it gives you more time to actually experiment with different options as opposed to focusing on one thing, because the reduction of time is there. So it increases creativity because you have a lot more things to experiment with. And I think
even if you don't speed up using AI, what the AI will give you is more time to yourself to actually explore, be creative, and everything else. So it might not speed up in the end the final delivery time of, say, a project, but it might give you more spare time during the day as a developer to actually explore new ideas, new types of, like, I would say, what ifs, and use AI in that sense like a new form of Google query, except that this query is like, generate this code for me. I want to see how you do that particular part.
And there are specific tools.
Yeah.
Red Hat have come up with some great things. We're using Ansible on a daily basis. How has that changed your life?
So, and again, I'm going to fall back to the to the AI as well. Having AI generate the Ansible code for me, tremendous, because I could knock out code that will take me, again, weeks in less than 10, 15 minutes. So just the, what I can generate is pretty much limited by your imagination. And you literally get scared as part of that, because you realize, okay, no, I can literally not tell it what I want. I can tell it this more or less what I want. Go and write the documentation before you do the work. And I can look and say, I didn't think about this. I didn't think about that, but that's good. This is bad. Now fix this. And let it write the documentation of what it will implement in the end of the day. So you end up with a tremendous amount of, what is the word? Like context of what you want. And it leads you to thinking on a much higher level, almost like having a manager with a team of people working for you, rather than a low-level technical person. So it's a complete shift in mind. But your coding days are going to become less about coding. That's it. Yeah.
And more about the imagination. So, Karl, in order to wrap us up, thinking about in your viewpoint, what are the things we should be focusing on in the next 5 years to keep us ahead of the game?
I'm going to bring it back to people. So I think we should think of how technology affects people, right? And how it will affect their careers and how they would approach problems in the workplace. I think that AI is a great enabler to help people to do day-to-day and do things better. But we must also not think that because an employee has AI, now we have a 10x engineer that can do 10x AI. I don't think that is something that we should worry about. I think so in the next 10 or 5 years, I don't think we should plan that far ahead. I think that's not right because 5 years ago we didn't have ChatGPT, right? So I think, and it's already had such an impact. So I think the best thing to go and do is to make sure that you have that human connection. I think more and more people coming back to the office. I think use that time productively, right? Rather build relationships, have more connection with people, right? Don't worry about the technology. The technology is only going to get better, right? And I think let's when we have in person and how businesses should evolve is I think that when we do and meet in person, let's try and build creatively, see how we can collaborate better. How can we effectively grow the institution, the company that you work for?
Karl, Bennie, thank you for joining us at the Kernel. We appreciate your time and we've had such fun with you. Thank you.
Thank you.